So now we're going to take the same problem, 422 divided by 3, and we're going to use a strategy called partial quotients. It's called partial quotients because you're doing part of the quotient at a time. You're breaking it down into compatible numbers. When I do this problem, I set it up just like the standard algorithm for long division. The only adaptation I do is I draw a line here because this is where I'm going to keep track of each part of my quotient. The next thing I'm going to do off to the side is I'm going to write down facts I know. For 3. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 10 is 30. I'm even going to go to 3 times 100 is 300. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to see, can I use any of these to start taking away from that 422? It's kind of what we did with the equal share groups, where every time we put an amount inside of the circle, we took that amount away from the number of tallies we needed to place. So I noticed that if I multiply 3 times 100, I would get 300. Which means I can take 300 away from 422 if I multiply 3 times 100. There's my 3, here's my 100. So 3 times 100 equals 300. I'm going to now take that 300 away from 122, and I can easily do that in my head. And I notice that I have 122 remaining. Notice that I also put spaces here in between each of these numbers because if I wanted to add a fact in there to use, I have space to do that now. For example, I know that 300's too big. 30's kind of small, but I'm thinking, what would happen if I doubled 30? If I doubled 30, that would give me 60. And to double 30, I would have to double that 10 to 20. And I'm still multiplying by 3 because that's how many people I'm sharing with. Do the basic fact, 3 times 2 is 6, and then count and add your 0. That equals 60. That's a little bit closer to this, so I'm going to go ahead and use that 60 over here. I'm going to take those 60 tallies away from 120. That means that I used 20 in each circle, and there were 3 circles. So 3 times 20 is 60. If I subtract that, well, if I take 60 away from 120, if I take 20 away, that's going to give me 102. That means I have 40 left. So if I continue and take that 40 away from 102, well, I know 40 away from 100 is 60, but I have to add that 2 in, so that's going to leave me with 62. Can I take another set of 60 away? I sure can. So again, I'm going to put 60 over here. I'm going to put 20 here, and I'm multiplying by 3. 3 times 20 is 60. And if I subtract these two amounts, I get 2. There's nothing over here times 3 that will give me 2, which means that 2 is now my remainder. I can't take any more sets of 3 away from 2. Then I'm going to add up the parts of the quotient that I put together. 100 plus 20 is 120. 120 plus 20 is 140. So now I know that my quotient is 140, and if I take that 140, I multiply it by 3, my divisor. 3 times 0 is 0, 3 times 4 is 12, regroup my 1, and 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 more is 4. I get 420. Then I want to add in my remainder, what I was left with, and that gives me my 422, which tells me I'm correct.